Welcome to the deep dive. You know that cliche about a career being a long and winding road? Well, today we're unpacking a trajectory that didn't just wind, it was fundamentally shattered and rebuilt under extreme duress.
Yeah, a really intense story.
We are looking at the sources covering the remarkable, often turbulent life and career of Teri Weigel.
Right. Our sources today trace her path, from modeling fame to Hollywood roles. But the real story isn't just about success, it's about survival.
Survival, exactly.
The true mission of this deep dive is to really isolate that singular catastrophic moment in 1990. The accident that forced a complete professional redirection.
Okay.
We're analyzing the connection between that sudden physical and financial collapse and the subsequent historic leap she made into the adult industry, highlighting the resilience needed when your life plan just gets completely dismantled.
Okay, so to really get the impact of that pivot, we need to establish where she was before everything changed. How established was she?
Well, she was born Teresa Susan Weigel, Fort Lauderdale, 1962. Her career kicked off pretty early, modeling in her teens,
Right.
including the Saks Fifth Avenue catalog, which was quite prestigious.
Definitely. And that classic look. It didn't take long for Playboy to notice, did it?
Not at all. Her rise there was, well, meteoric. She wasn't just in the magazine. She hit the cover in November '85.
Cover straight away. Wow.
And then named Playmate for April '86. Plus appearances in several Playboy videos around then. This was high-profile stuff, glamour branding.
And she parlayed that visibility into Hollywood work, right? Building up mainstream credits at the same time.
Exactly. She snagged a role, a minor one, but still, in Miami Vice. That was the '85-'86 season. Huge show back then.
Iconic. And then came the role many people probably remember her for.
Yeah, Jade unmarried with children. Instantly recognizable to millions. She was in 4 episodes, '88 to '90.
Right, Jade. So she was really riding high then. A known face on a massive hit show.
Absolutely. And meanwhile, her film stuff was leaning into action, thrillers. Things like Savage Beach, The Banker in '89.
And Marked for Death with Steven Seagal in '90.
Right. But the film that maybe best shows where she was, kind of pushing boundaries within the mainstream, was Predator 2, also 1990.
Okay, how so?
The sources specifically note this. As Ramon Vega's lover, she was on screen almost her entire screen time completely naked.
Ah, so finding that niche, maybe. Recognizable roles, but also high-profile nudity. Seemed like a path forward.
Exactly, like a reliable future as that model-turned-actress type. She had momentum, recognition, a clear trajectory.
Until that trajectory was, as you said, violently stopped. What exactly happened in August 1990?
It was a serious car accident. The sources are clear on this. Immediate debilitating damage.
Not bad.
Severe neck and back injuries. Required 5 surgical operations. 5.
Oof. For someone whose job relies on their physical presence, that's devastating.
It's basically a career death sentence in that line of work.
Yeah.
Travel, posing, performing, gone.
And that physical catastrophe led directly to financial ruin, according to the sources.
Absolutely. She was totally incapacitated for 4 months. Couldn't work at all.
Just no income stream.
Right. And that created an immediate, huge financial crisis. She'd married Merle Maglio back in '86.
Yeah.
And the pressure was immense.
What did that mean, practically?
We had to sell their home,
Mm.
downsize into an apartment. They went from, Hollywood success to pretty desperate straits in just months.
Wow. That really sets the stage for the next very controversial decision. How did the idea of adult films even come up?
It was apparently while she was working one of her last dude contracts for Playboy, probably trying to scrape together some cash.
Okay.
A coworker just suggested it, said, hey, you could make money in adult films.
And her reaction?
Initially hesitant, which, makes sense. It's a huge leap from Playboy glamour to hardcore content, a different world entirely.
But the financial situation?
Overrode the hesitation. Losing your home, facing massive medical bills, your options start looking very different, very limited.
What's kind of amazing here is how the opportunity presented itself. It wasn't some long search, right?
No, it was almost weirdly convenient. The sources call it a ready-made route, found right in her new apartment complex.
How so?
Her neighbors happened to be Fred and Patty Lincoln, established adult film producers.
Seriously, like right next door.
Literally next door. They had the connections, the infrastructure. They could basically walk her into the industry.
So the transition was quick then?
Very fast. Her first hardcore film was Inferno in 1991, co-starred with Mark Wallace. And this moment, this film, it's historically significant.
Why exactly? What made it such a landmark?
Because she became the first Playboy Playmate ever to cross over into hardcore pornography. First one.
Okay, that's a huge distinction. Playboy was softcore, sanitized glamour. This was explicit.
Completely different league. Now, sources note she was the second Playmate in Penthouse back in '85, but the hardcore crossover, that was unprecedented. A real pioneering act.
And pioneers often pay a heavy price. The backlash must have been immediate. How did Playboy react?
Swift and brutal. The split was instant and extremely acrimonious. Playboy terminated its relationship with her, period.
Just cut her off completely.
Totally. It was their hard rule.
Yeah.
Playmates doing hardcore cannot represent the company. They wanted zero association with her new image.
And that bad blood lasted, didn't it? I remember reading they sued her later on.
They did. A decade later, in 2000, overusing the bunny logo on her website without permission shows how deep that rejection went.
Wow. That's the institutional rejection. But what about the personal cost? That must have been immense, too.
Arguably heavier. It wasn't just losing her home and her old career identity. The sources say her family, her parents, they completely stopped speaking to her by 1992.
Oh, man, because of the career change?
Yeah. Losing that family support right when she probably needed it most, it really underscores the consequences of her choice. Or, well, the choice forced upon her.
That is just huge pressure. And to succeed in this new industry, she also made some significant changes to her appearance, correct? Sort of rebranding.
Yes, very much so. It wasn't just vanity. It was about market viability in the early 90s adult scene.
What did she do?
Breast augmentation. Went from a 34B to a 36DD, maybe E, and changed her hair from dark brown to blonde.
So a conscious effort to fit the aesthetic, the demands of the new genre.
Exactly. Professional optimization for the world she was now navigating.
Despite all that initial rejection, institutional and personal, she really did find major success and longevity in the adult world, didn't she?
Absolutely. Over 150 adult film titles. She kept working well into the 2010s. That's a long career in that business.
And it wasn't just films either.
No, she was versatile. Toured nationally as a nude dancer. She was even a featured performer at the Moonlight Bunny Ranch in Nevada, the legal brothel, until late '98.
So she clearly found a way to not just survive, but actually thrive in this industry she was pushed into.
Definitely carved out a major space for herself.
We should talk about her husband, Merle Maglio. They were married a long time, nearly 30 years, from '86 till he passed in 2015. He was more than just her husband, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was crucial. He was her manager. Described as a staunch supporter of her work, even the explicit stuff.
That seems unusual for that context.
Highly unusual. And very stabilizing, likely. He even took small, non-sexual roles in some of her films. He was actively involved.
The sources mentioned their personal life might have played a role in making that work.
Right. They apparently had a swinger lifestyle.
Yeah.
The sources suggest this eased some of the potential difficulties or anxieties around her on-screen work with other people.
Interesting. Provides some context for that long-term support. And they had a family, too.
Yes, a daughter, Cherie Nicole Malia Wong. And Teri has 2-step grandchildren. So she maintained a stable personal life alongside everything else.
She did marry again later, briefly.
Yes, a second marriage to Sam Hoffert from August 2017 until he passed away in February 2022.
Okay. So despite the mainstream turning its back, the industry she landed in eventually gave her its highest honors.
It absolutely did. Major recognition. This shows she wasn't just working, she was considered elite within that field.
What kind of awards are we talking about?
Well, she got the FOXE award for Vixen back in '92, early on. But the big ones were the Hall of Fame inductions.
Right.
ASRCO Hall of Fame in 2002 and the AVN Hall of Fame in 2003. Those are like the Oscars of the adult industry. Plus a Night Moves Award in 2003, too.
So genuine, lasting recognition from her peers in that world.
No question. She reached the top tier there.
So when we connect all these dots, like you said, the mainstream glamour, the awful injury, the financial desperation forcing that move, the family rejection, and then ultimately this industry validation.
The core insight seems pretty clear, doesn't it? Her career path wasn't some calculated grab for different fame. It was defined by a pivot that was almost entirely forced by circumstance.
Yeah, that 1990 accident and the fallout, it was less a choice, more a necessary act of professional survival, rebuilding from scratch.
Exactly. Her story really highlights the extreme adaptability you sometimes need when life just throws a massive curveball, a complete redirection.
And she paid a huge price for it, losing her original brand, family ties, but she still managed to reach the pinnacle of her new, very different field.
Right. It proves you can pivot from catastrophe and find success, even if it's on a stage you never ever expected to be on. Facing rejection from one world while getting top honors in another.
It really leaves you thinking, and maybe this is the thought to leave you, our listener, with, reflecting on her journey. Given that drastic career pivot forced by the accident and financial collapse, what level of personal sacrifice would you be willing to accept?
Selling your home, maybe losing contact with family, totally changing your professional identity. How far would you go to rebuild your professional life after that kind of crisis?